All right, shalom. First and foremost, of course, I got to give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High God Yahweh, and I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ Yahweh Shai. All right, it's your brother, Chief Priest Allah Zarban Lawyer, aka the Guerrilla Hebrew, coming at y'all with Issa Guerrilla, episode 5. This episode will be dedicated to a review on the film Black Panther, blockbuster film, record-breaking film. It's currently, within a month's time, number 7 on the all-time United States film list as far as grossing. That's the type of records it broke. Today is actually it's 1 a.m. now, so it's March the 13th. And I've had the privilege of seeing that movie now 3 times. It's been out for 4 weekends, so I've seen it 3 of the 4 weekends. So I guess I'll start there. Of course, there was much anticipation. Hold on. Okay, my apologies. So yeah, it was highly anticipated, and of course everybody was excited for the movie, to see it, being that, the ensemble, number one, the ensemble is what stood out to black people the most. We have an all-black movie, an all-black cast, black heroes, black director. So it was a moment. It was a moment for black people. You could say the world over, to have this type of representation on this level of a project that got this amount of steam. A lot of promotion. $200 million spent on the production of the film. And it's already, quintupled what it was spent on its production, its budget. So, overall, that was a big deal, and I believe ultimately the end result is, it was well pleasing. But I guess I'll start from the beginning. So here in San Diego, where I currently am stationed, they had something called a Black AF, or a Black as Fuck premiere for the movie, which was an extremely dope idea and concept, and I'm extremely pleased that it was executed. I had opportunity. We had opportunity to go twice, and I kind of dropped the ball both times, which we still ended up going, but we didn't end up viewing that day, which was that Friday. The first day it came out, so I wasn't able to see it that day, but we went. We were still asked. To attend the event, even though we couldn't watch because all the seats had been, bought up. But basically, what the Black as Fuck premiere is they bought out 2 theaters at a particular movie theater here in San Diego, and what they did was, if only black people can buy the tickets to these theaters. So if you're not black, you couldn't get a ticket. So, we had the unique opportunity to literally be in a setting of only our people sitting down and taking in a movie that was, for us and by us. For the most part, even though, of course, Disney and Marvel were behind it. I mean, the director, the actors, etc. So y'all get the point. So that's a unique and cool experience, and a great concept. And because of the overwhelming success of the first one, they're of course pushing to do, future events like that. So that was cool, but I didn't actually end up getting to view the movie myself until the next night. We went to LA to do the camp at the All-Star weekend. That was the day of the duck contest and the skills competition. Y'all could catch that footage on our various YouTube channels. So we did camp that day, and then we actually went. We, of course, had to head back south to get back to San Diego. Made a stop in the South Bay to actually take the movie in. And we saw it in 3D, which, I mean, it's kind of cool, but I'm not like a huge 3D fan, for sure. And the next 2 times I saw it, I was able to see it standard, and I prefer seeing things standard in 3D. Personally, I think 3D is like super overhyped, but and it kind of was hard a little bit to watch it. It was kind of cool, but at the same time, like, it's just kind of hard, and to wear them stupid ass glasses on my face. Like, I'm not a person that you'll never see me wearing glasses. Like, there's not a picture of me floating around of a nigga just wearing glasses and they got some Cartiers on it, nothing like that. Like, I don't do that. You know what I mean? So, I don't like wearing glasses. So, but yeah, so we seen it, boom. We're able to go as not my entire camp, but a great portion of us caravanned and went. Some of us had already seen it. Some brothers had to get home, et cetera, et cetera. But we were able to take the movie in, and I'll say this: it's a great movie. It was a great movie on every level, on the surface level and on the deeper level, which I'll of course get into, which is really the whole point of me making this, is the deeper level and what the deeper meaning of the movie was, what the true message of the movie was. All right. Which of course is, a lot of people are oblivious to it, but it was pretty obvious to the trained eye what was being conveyed in the movie. Very obvious, but overall, let's just go to the surface. Surface level is, we have a progressive black nation, progressive black people positively being represented on a major film. And that's something that we haven't really ever had, especially with the Disney engine behind it to this magnitude. It's never happened. So them little black kids can have a black role model. Why? People say, well, we need real black role models. True, I agree. But being realistic, and as well as being simplistic here, these kids' role models are Batman, or Superman, or Spider-Man. All characters, Thor, Iron Man, Captain America. All characters portrayed by white people. All displaying white people with these super abilities. You understand what I'm saying? And kind of what the beautiful thing about the Black Panther was, we have the Black Panther, who is a black person with supernatural abilities. But also you have his whole conglomerate that they all don't have necessarily supernatural abilities, but through technological advancement, they perform at at a heightened ability. So even the people who didn't drink the heart-shaped herb still were on a higher level than everybody else. So that showed something positive toward the masses of black people, okay, on that level. So I'll applaud it there, but we got to delve deeper now, because I know some people listen. It's like, man, nigga, you drank the Kool-Aid. I sure as hell ain't drink the Kool-Aid. A lot of people drank the Kool-Aid though, okay, because we got to really get down to the nitty gritty about what the movie was really, really about, subconsciously, what was in the subtext of it, what they were trying to convey, what it was based upon, because all this stuff is based upon things. You see what I'm saying? A lot of movies are based upon the Bible, and they go through templates that they find the stories in the Bible, and they just follow the cogs of the template and just change certain details to make the story a little bit more unique. But when you strip it down and you take a look at the template and each cog, you see stories that relate typically back to the Bible. Aspects of Black Panther relate back to the Bible, but I can't personally recall any Bible story that it stole its template from. I'll say that. But overall, the themes are somewhat biblical based. But ultimately, I watched the movie, and when we came out, once I figured out what everything was in the spirit, of course, it was very clear to me what the movie was about. So we walk out, and of course I'm with a large group of brothers, and I go, okay, who got the breakdown? I'm asking, I'm trying to see who understood the movie for what it was at the moment. And to my surprise, nobody really did. You know what I mean? Brothers was getting certain aspects of it, but I don't know, for whatever reason, it just wasn't overwhelmingly clear. So, I gave them in the spirit the breakdown. What I believe clearly is the message being conveyed in the movie, hands down. And that's this. First, Wakanda represents the entire continent of Africa. A lot of people, they get caught up on like the intricate details. When you're dealing with the message being conveyed, it's not about the intricate details. It's about the wide overall what's being displayed here, right? So what Wakanda represents is all of Africa. That's what it represents. Part of the way you see this is when you see that Wakanda is made up of 5 tribes. They don't even regard themselves as one distinctive people group. They identify themselves as 5 distinctive people groups, and one of which has alienated itself from the rest of the general Wakandan society. But they have 5 tribes in Wakanda. Those 5 tribes are predicated upon research done by the developers of the movie that took 5 different tribes from 5 different regions of Africa and incorporated them in. That's why they look so drastically different. One's dressed in red, one's dressed in green. One wears the overlapping kind of shamanistic garment. The other one got the platelet, because they are taking different tribes from different parts of Africa and they're putting them in Wakanda, symbolizing how Wakanda represents all of Africa. Vibranium simply represents how rich in resources Africa is, more rich in resources than any other continent. That's all it represents. All right. So the vibranium is Africa's resources. Wakanda is Africa. Hope y'all are following me. All right. If this wasn't a clear theme to y'all in the movie, which I believe it should have been, because it was very crystal clear from the onset to me in the spirit what exactly was being conveyed. So Wakanda is Africa, and vibranium symbolizes the vast resources of Africa, and also the fact that, you know, they kind of portrayed themselves to be a third world country, but really behind closed doors they were this booming Afro-futuristic cyberpunk, nearly metropolis, utopia. That's, in a lot of ways, that's how Africa is. Granted, there are a lot of impoverished areas and quote unquote underdevelopment or third world areas in Africa, but there's a lot of development in Africa. There's a lot of technology in Africa. There's a whole lot of money in Africa, and there are a whole lot of Africans that are living well, better than you'll see a large selection of white folks. Quite frankly, if you just, I challenge anybody, get on Instagram. Get on Instagram, poke around on Instagram on some people from the continents, Instagram pages, right? Namely, brothers out there, namely some young ladies. You see some young ladies in Africa, oh, you know what I mean? There's beautiful sisters, you know, they look like sisters from America. You know, some of them are Israelites, some of them aren't, you know, but they resemble us regardless. Go on their Instagram pages. Take a look at how they living out there. Take a look at the cars they driving. Take a look at the houses they living in. Take a look at the luxurious things that they're indulging in on a regular basis. It's a whole lot of money out there. We've been shown Africa as this desert wasteland where everybody's naked and starving and lives in huts. And that ain't what's going on. That ain't what's going on in Kenya. That ain't what's going on in a great portion of West Africa. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of resources out there. And we have to understand that there's a lot of Africans on that continent that are making their money, doing business, doing deals with Europe, doing deals with Asia, getting their bread. So that's how Wakanda symbolizes Africa. It's portrayed to us that they're just this third world, just migrant shepherds and stuff like that. But behind closed doors, it's a lot of money over there. It's a lot of resources over there. And it's a lot of Africans that's living real good over there. So that's why Wakanda represents Africa. All right. Going forward, you have Killmonger, who is, and I want to say this on record, who is the true hero of the movie. Chad Boseman, who played Black Panther, who, contrary to popular belief, is not from Africa, is a brother from South Carolina, said himself that T'Challa, which is the tribal name of the Black Panther, is the enemy, is his enemy, is the enemy of the quote-unquote African American or the black in America, or more appropriately, the Israelites, is the enemy. Killmonger represents so-called African Americans or black people of the diaspora or the Israelites. That's what he represents. Period. It's clear. Let me explain. If it's not clear at this point, he is a son of Wakanda, the son of royalty, who, by extenuating circumstances, gets left in America to grow up in the hells of America, to be oppressed, to be traumatized, to be terrorized, to live in subpar standards, while the Wakandans live up good. While they sit there with all their resources and every ability and all the power in their hands to help and save black people. That's what it represents. It represents all the resources and power and ability and the armies that they had in Africa and all the ability that they had to come over here to us in America and come save us, come help us, come assist us as we bled, as we died, as we were raped, as we were hung, as we were lynched, and as we built this place for nothing in return. And then after we got done laboring for free, building this place for nothing in return, we're serially put in prison, continually lynched, continually hung, continually overworked and underpaid unto this very day. And this whole time, this whole 500 years, that continent had everything at their fingertips to come and do something about it, and they did nothing. That's Killmonger. That's where Killmonger's anger comes from. It's the anger that you have as a so-called black man, or even the Latino man and Native Indian man. But the reason why it speaks to the black man more so has to do with the fact that there's this commonality of Africa that we serially identify with, because that's the only thing that we've ever been given, was that we were taken from Africa. They didn't specifically tell us where in Africa. You do some digging, you'll find out. But they never really specifically tell us where in Africa. They just say Africa. Of course, ultimately, we go all the way back to Israel. But we got to keep it simple here, because there's a simple theme that's being shown. And that's Africa. So when you see Killmonger make these statements, there's 2 billion people that look like us. We all over the place. And the Wakandans don't care. They're never moved by that, because they don't give a damn about nobody that ain't from Wakanda, period. That ain't in Wakanda. You are in another place of the earth. Fuck you. That's how they feeling. That's how Africa feel. You can maybe find a couple of Africans that's like, man, that's messed up. Nah, cool. And we saw that. Brother from Get Out wanted to join in, wanted to help. But the ultimate and overall general consensus of Africa is fuck you niggas. And you are an idiot if you believe otherwise. And that movie showed it in a poetic way that was very easy to be understood. That man killed that brother's father, left him for dead in an apartment for his son to find him, and let that brother grow up his whole life with the image of his dead father, like so many of us have. Or knowing our father, looking at our father in a jail cell, looking at our father at the end of a crack pipe, a heroin needle, a coke habit, a bottle, or not even ever know our father. That's that anger that Killmonger possesses. It represents the anger as a result of the oppression that we faced here in the hells of North, Central, and South America. Period. But of course, it shows, and I'm going to show y'all, Killmonger is talking all this Africa shit. He know all about Africa. Life started this continent. We all your people. There's 2 billion of us all over the world. He know when he go in that museum, he know everything about every single African artifact that's there. He know more about Africa than the fucking Africans. Just like a Negro in America who don't know who the hell he is, don't know where the hell he's from, don't know what tribe he's from. So he identifies himself with the entire continent that don't give a fuck about him, and that breaks himself off into tribes, so they don't even give a fuck about other tribes and people from other regions. Period. But it's us that have this dumbass idea in our head: Africa, 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 all of Africa, all of Africa. No. Never. They never gave a fuck. They could have got on fucking boats. They could have fought. They could have came over here and said, what the fuck y'all doing to these niggas, man? Y'all can't do that to our people, our brothers. They never cared because they don't look at us like that. Again, maybe some of them do. Ghana has tried to make an effort in recent years. Everybody knows that with this repatriation and shit like that. True. But there's over 50 countries on that continent who don't give a flying fuck. I don't know if y'all know that or not. It was clearly displayed. A lot of people just went and seen it. Was like, Wakanda forever. Oh my God, Black Panther is so great. Not realizing that the big fuck you was to you. And they teamed up with a white man at the end to take your black ass down. They showed and they made Killmonger look erratic. And they made him look crazy. And they did everything to demonize him because they're demonizing you. When she said you'll never be a true king, she was talking to you. I don't know if you know that or not. But it is the mission of the continental African and that white man to ensure that we never rise into a place of prominence or power, ever. That is the moral of that story. Because if we do what they're saying and what they displayed, is that the first thing we'll do, they had him burn that heart-shaped herb. Why did they have him burn that heart-shaped herb? It was to demonize him to the audience. And it was to subconsciously say that if we were to get in power and get a hold of all the resources that Africa holds, we would destroy it because all we ever do is destroy shit. They furthered that ideology at the end of the movie when he pulled up in his spaceship and they said, let's break it apart and sell it. If you didn't realize how many slaps and spits in the faces that you, the so-called black man of the diaspora, was given in that movie, you need to open your goddamn eyes. Because that's what was going on. I love the movie on every level. Why? Because I love the message that's being displayed. Because it's one that's truthful to the sentiments of the continental African and the white man in general. Maybe not every single in particular, but the general consensus, which is truly all that matters. Period. That's what was happening. That's what was displayed. You can't see it. I had a sister come to me and tell me about, nah, man, he wasn't a hero. He was being aggressive towards women. Again, they utilized that imagery in those moments to demonize the American black man, to say that we're angry towards women and that we hate women and we want to repress people and that we're just going to destroy shit and burn it down. So we don't belong in rulership. We belong continually oppressing the ghettos with a little help with a little social and economic and scientific and technological assistance from the continent of Africa. That's the moral of the goddamn story, man. You didn't see it? It was right in front of your goddamn face. I see it clearly because I seen the goddamn movie 3 times. I paid 3 times to see that goddamn movie. I know what was being shown to me on that goddamn screen. Every time. Fuck you. That's what they showed me. Fuck you. That's what they showed us, man. You didn't see it? Watch that motherfucker again, man. It's worth it. It's going to keep you, it kept me entertained. I was on 4 hours of sleep, rolled my ass all the way to LA, taught on the streets for 4 hours, then went and seen that movie at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I think. 10, 11, somewhere around there. Barely on 4 hours of sleep. Almost up for 24 goddamn hours. I sat through over 2 hours of that. I was tired. When I sat down in the previews, I was tired, man. As soon as that movie started, I was on the edge of my seat. It kept me entertained, but I also paid attention to the message. And the message was, American black man of the diaspora, you will never be fit to rule. Now, granted, T'Challa or Black Panther, he took credit. He's a monster of our own creation, he says. It's our fault. We left him over there. But yet and still, even though we left him over there, I'm not going to let these guys rule. These guys are monsters. They're maniacs. They're crazy. Instead, we're just going to give them some social outreach and a technology and education exchange in their ghettos. White man already got social outreach and goddamn information exchange. That's not what we need. We need what Killmonger was talking about. We need these, he said, we need these weapons to take over the world and let us be on top. We don't have the world start over. And this time we on top, which is exactly what the Bible is talking about, which is exactly what the mission of the black man named Jesus Christ, real name Yahweh Shai, is. You see what I'm saying? It's clear. It's crystal clear to me. 1000%. So, moving forward, you have the tribe, because again, it's different tribes. So you have the tribe of the brother from Get Out. And they represent the Israelites that are scattered in Africa, because there are Israelites scattered in Africa. That's who they represent. That's why they were so quick to take up the mantle for the Israelite brother Killmonger. And, you know, get his back. And my favorite scene in the movie is when the brother from Get Out blows the trumpet. And we know in the scriptures, blowing the trumpet is symbolically represents us going to the streets and teaching the word of God. And when he taught the word, the rhinoceros came and assisted them in battle. And why that's my favorite scene is because of, like I said earlier, there was biblical themes in the movie. Okay, again, blowing the trumpet symbolizes going to the streets and teaching the word. But the tribe of Ephraim represents the whole northern kingdom of the nation of Israel, who are the so-called Hispanics and Native Indians. And they are personified, or not personified, but represented symbolically in certain scriptures as a rhinoceros, as it says in the King James Version, a unicorn. People, the unicorn, Pegasus, no. When you look up that word in the Hebrew, it's really just talking about a rhinoceros. It was called a unicorn in medieval times because you just see the one horn protruding if it's charging at you. Unicorn just means one horn, all right? So when that rhinoceros comes and it assists them in battle, what it symbolically represents is the black man going out to these streets, teaching the Bible, waking up our brothers of the Latino and Native Indian persuasion, and then assisting us and helping us in our fight, as we've been doing since 1969 through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. So that's one of my favorite parts of the movie because of how beautiful it is. That on top of Killmonger throwing Black Panther off the damn waterfall. That was an amazing scene in the movie. Amazing scene. So, I mean, it's just a lot. There's a lot in that movie. Just a whole lot in that movie. And real quick, back to the Africa thing, because, you know, of course, I have no problem with saying that Israelites are Africans, or, you know, Israel is within the continental borders of Africa. That's not a problem. But what our people do when we're lost is it's shown by Michael B. Jordan, who plays Eric Killmonger. You know, we just have this fetish with identifying with the entire continent, and it's as a result of ignorance, because a lot of us don't know where we came from, or a lot of us would just pay, you know, $100 to some DNA company and allow them to just tell us where we come from, even though if we paid that same $100 to 3 other DNA companies, they would give us all different answers. Anyway, we do that. But what's funny is I watched this very interesting roundtable, if you will, of a bunch of Somalians in the UK. And the topic of conversation was, are they black or are they African? And some of them said yes, but the majority of them were saying that, or even the ones that said yes were saying that black or African is like the 6th or 7th thing that they would identify as. They said principally they would identify as their tribe, then they would identify as Somali, then they would identify as Cushitic, then they would identify as East African, then they would identify as African, then they would identify as black. Those are the last things that they would call themselves, but they're the first things that we of the diaspora refer to and identify ourselves as, and that's as a direct result of the lack of identity that we have. he principally puts his tribe and his nation before he would put being black or African. And he said the only people that do put black or African first are people who do not know what tribe and nation they come from. So that's what we saw with Killmonger. Even though he, of course, in the movie, this is why you can't pay, like, we have to understand the message that's being sent versus all the intricate details. Because, of course, he knew he was from Wakanda. But he, being an African American, being somebody who grew up in America, under the hills that we grew up in, just identifies with the whole continent. You see what I'm saying? Like we do. Knows everything about Africa, studies all the, oh no, this is from that tribe. This is from, nigga knew everything about Africa, right? More than the Africans. Went all the way to Africa to find out it was fuck you. Oh, you have a plan to liberate black people all over the world? Fuck you. Hell no. We will never give our resources and our manpower to y'all liberation. We ain't did it in 500 years. We sure as shit ain't starting now. That's the goddamn message, man. I hope y'all saw it. I hope y'all saw it clear, man. And I hope if you didn't see it before that you see it now. Because that's what's going on. That's everything that movie was about. Hands down and bar none. And then the bowing to the woman at the end when he was fighting the good fight. The brother from Get Out and he bowed to his woman at the end. That was another symbol. That was another symbol. I shouldn't have to tell you what that one was. That should be clear. Let me go to my Facebook real quick because I want to read some of these statuses. Oh, and by the way, I bought an Eric Killmonger shirt. Hard. Look to be seeing me at camp with that on. I want to go to my Facebook though briefly. Because I made, of course, a multitude of statuses about this. About the movie. So I definitely would like to read some of them so I could kind of put myself back in the mind state I was then. So, because there's a lot of, again, it's been going on a month. This is a long time coming. I been should have did this. So anyway, when I seen it on Sunday, something stuck out to me, and that was that when Michael B. Jordan said, all that challenge shit is over, I'm the king now. It was just funny because when you compare and contrast it the way that everybody was talking versus how Killmonger was talking, being a brother from Oakland as he was playing, it was just hilarious. They're talking, oh no, the challenge, ritual combat. And here, Michael B. Jordan, hey look, all that challenge shit, that's out, my nigga. We ain't doing none of that. I'm the king. That was just hilarious to me. In real, because he represented us and he represented us properly. And Michael B. Jordan, man, that's a brother who I've always appreciated his work, nigga, from Hardball to The Wire. And it was funny because like after Hardball and The Wire, he kind of like fell off the face of the earth for a while. Like he wasn't in nothing until Creed. And I was always happy. I was happy when he got that deal with Creed, and I love the movie Creed, and I'm looking forward to the sequel, but because that brother's a great actor and he definitely should be getting better looks. But this, of course, was a real good look for him. Real good look for all parties involved, and it's definitely gonna open some doors as far as in that world, and for us to be, for us, when I say us black people, to have the #1 movie in the world right now, make $1 billion in a month, that's gonna open doors. So that's a beautiful thing about the movie. Whether you dislike it or like it or not, or agree with it or whatever, you gotta like it for what it is. And of course, like I was telling people, like you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? So keep the baby. This is a good thing. This is in a way a win, even though ultimately the good guy lost in the movie. We have to know that according to biblical prophecy, the good guy gonna win. The vision of Killmonger will be realized. Thus saith the Lord God. All right. I want y'all to understand that. All right. Let me see here. I'm still scrolling. 1 second. Damn, man. When was the last time I made a post about this? Okay. Right about here. All right. This is after I watched it for the second time last weekend. I said, just watch Black Panther for the second time. I want all that watched it to know when the princess said, you'll never be king, that's meant towards the entire diaspora, aka the 12 tribes scattered. It's the sentiment of the general continental African and the rest of the world. Killmonger represented you. Many of y'all rooted against yourselves. Wakanda for never. And then I posted the emoji that everybody's using as the Wakanda emoji, where it's a dude doing the X, and then I put the gun next to it. Right? I got 246 comments on this, so you know it was going up. Here's what I do. If I post something on Facebook and it gets over a certain amount of comments, I just stop responding. I don't have the energy or the hand power to finger fight with people all day. Like, seriously, I don't like it. I just feel like I'm lowering myself intellectually when I do it, because the points that I want to articulate, I couldn't possibly do it with my thumbs. It's impossible. I like to have discussions, and I like to really speak my mind, and I like to have the time to do it. Why we do things like podcasts, you know what I'm saying? Teach lessons, have classes, go to the streets and teach. To me, it's more effective than typing, period. Twitter fingers, right? It was a lot of arguing on here. A whole lot of arguing on here. Like, man, like, I don't even know if I want to read any of this, to be honest with you. Like, this shit was crazy. This shit was really crazy. Let me take a look. I'm cursing sisters out. I'm cursing everybody out. Brother Karash had a good point. It says, CIA man telling African leaders, we got differences, but we got to kill these Negroes together. And that was clear. The CIA agent was the sidekick hero in a way. You know, he came through, he shot, what did he do? He shot all those weapons that were going to help black people out of the goddamn sky, man. That's major. I don't know if y'all understand that. That's a big deal. Just like the CIA, you know, they kind of aided in getting all our communities hooked on crack. They did that. That's document. That's something the government has admitted on record in open court. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it symbolized when he was shooting everything out the damn sky that was going to help us. When he assassinated any revolutionary leader, when J. Edgar Hoover created the COINTELPRO program to do what? Stop or stifle a black messiah. You see what I'm saying? That's what y'all just watched, and a lot of y'all rooted for it, mind you. You know, and I know a lot of Israelites in the truth, for whatever reason, y'all saw Wakanda as Israel. I don't know how. It ain't had nothing to do with that. You know, it was a lot, man. It was a lot. It was a whole lot, man. Let me just get off of here. I can't read all these comments, man. It's just a lot. That's what I'm gonna just keep telling you. It's a lot. This movie was a lot. It was impactful, again, on so many levels, and it showed us so many things. But I believe it's definitely it's a must watch for all black people. All black people have a duty to see certain movies. Especially I'll give it a this modern of the last couple years. Number 1, Birth of a Nation. Number 2, Get Out. Number 3, Detroit. Number 4, Black Panther. But one that we can't forget is Hidden Figures, and that's the only one I haven't seen yet. But a brother in my camp, Sergeant Shamaria Shore, who y'all heard on the podcast in previous installments, he, you know, told me about this movie and told me how important the movie was and how it depicted, you know, the character portrayed as Taraji P. Henson. That is a true story, was an actual sister that existed, and how, you know, the God-given skill in mathematics and arithmetic that she had is what helped NASA to send rockets into propulsion, which is the basis of the weapons program, the nuclear weapons program that white nations utilize and what they're going to destroy each other with. Because we have to understand something. I'm not going to get too deep into this right now, but all that quote unquote NASA space race, Russia Sputnik, it ain't a space race. It's an arms race. The white man is a hunter, and that's his job on the earth. What he's done on the earth is hunt and kill. As the scriptures say, the wicked is a sword. And that's who he is. He is the wicked. He is the Edomite. He is the devil. And he is a sword. So all he cares about is instruments of murder. That's all he's ever cared about. Going back to his spiritual forefather Cain, which Cain or Qayan in the Hebrew is a weapon or a lance. That's all he is. He's a murderer. He was a murderer from the beginning. So that's all about an arms race, how they were going to develop nuclear technology to kill each other, intercontinental ballistic missile technology to mass obliterate one another. That could not have been done or have been accomplished. These countries would not have nuclear capabilities if it wasn't for the intellectual genius given by God to a black woman. It's highly important to see that movie as well. Hidden Figures. Okay. A lot of people didn't see Detroit. Detroit is a very important movie that all of us should see. But of course, Birth of a Nation. Now, there were a lot of people in the community that criticized Black Panther and said, well, why didn't we get this type of hype for Birth of a Nation? Now, I agree. Matter of fact, let me scroll down. Because I got into it with somebody over this. I agree. I like Birth of a Nation better than I like Black Panther. But some people acted as if my support or me liking Black Panther means I didn't like Birth of a Nation, which was crazy because Birth of a Nation is one of my favorite movies. Y'all understand something too. And I get me, I'm a really passionate brother. Anybody who knows me knows I'm very passionate, especially when it comes to matters of our people. I literally have dedicated my life to my God, King, and nation. I put myself last a lot. I put myself last right now. I could be kicking my feet up right now. It's 2 a.m. I should be in the bed resting. I'm going to be watching my kids from 7:30 in the morning till 7:30 at night. But I'm up doing this podcast so I could give something to my people through the Spirit of the Most High God in the name of His Son. I'm a servant, man. You see what I'm saying? So anything that involves my people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, whether they recognize it, know it or not, or care or not, I'm passionate. I cried through my first time I saw Birth of a Nation twice. I cried the entire movie. I couldn't help it because I am so emotionally invested into my people. I feel so deeply for my people. And I feel the anger and the pain and the sadness. I feel all of it when I see it. I feel all of it. So I cried that whole movie. At every part. I cried when he taught that Bible the same way the Hebrew Israelites that we do. I cried when his wife was raped. I cried through all of it, man. And again, those were times that it really got me. But I pretty much cried the whole movie nonstop. That's how deeply I feel. I got emotional all 3 times I watched Black Panther. I got emotional the second time I watched Birth of a Nation as well. I didn't cry the whole time, but I cried a lot. And I got emotional at certain parts of Black Panther as well. I got emotional jubilantly with joy when he threw him off the waterfall. I'll tell you that. I got emotional when after Killmonger became king and he went to the ancestral realm and saw his father. That made me highly emotional. And he said, we're lost. And, that's deep because, of course, we're the lost tribes. Whether or not you acknowledge that we Israelites or not, you have to admit we're the lost tribes. You see what I'm saying? And there were some other parts I can't really recollect at the moment. But definitely struck a chord of emotion and, a little tear or two may have came out. for sure. But let me see here. I should be almost here. For sure, I should be almost here. Where we at? Come on. Okay, I made this. This is after the first time I watched it. I didn't even say anything other than just watch Black Panther. Very deep. That's it, right? 85 comments. So somebody came and said, why isn't Birth of a Nation as powerful as that movie? That's what they said. Right? So I said, when did I say it was? I did a 2-hour video on Birth of a Nation after I watched it, then went to see it again, which we did. Immediately after seeing it, we went into the foyer of the shopping center where the movie theater we saw that was, and we did a 2-hour breakdown on it, which was powerful. Then he responds to me, I thought a man of your caliber would be more about a real movie than fantasy. I know this is not an all-black movie. Walt Disney Production is behind this, where Birth of a Nation was all black. I just thought Hebrew Israelites for our people fully. I said, what are you talking about? I never said Black Panther was better than Birth of a Nation. Why are you acting like I did? You see what I'm saying? He just said he thought I would be more about a fake movie. Like, I never, saying that Black Panther was a powerful movie, enjoying it as a film piece, understanding it, getting something from it, does not take away from any other movie ever. I didn't down any other movie, right? So I said, okay, I read that part. And I said, all this post says is it was deep. I'm recognizing the underlying message of reality in the movie, which I've been explaining this whole time. And I said, I ain't compared to Birth of a Nation. I made no comparison. I said, if I say I ate a cheeseburger and it was good, does that mean I prefer cheeseburgers to chicken wings? No. I said, that's stupid and disrespectful. I have never given any movie the support I gave Birth of a Nation, which is true. I gave Birth of a Nation an immense amount of support, promoting it, speaking more highly of it again. Went to see it twice. At this point, I only seen Black Panther once. I didn't know I was going to have to see it 3 times, but I ended up having to. So I guess you could say I gave more financial support to Black Panther in the long run because I saw it 3 times. I gave $100 to Black Panther. Easy. Probably only gave, 50 or 60 to, Birth of a Nation, but I didn't have a need to see it 3 times. So that's kind of why. Anyway, and I said, and guess what? The white man made more money off Birth of a Nation than any black person. You must not know how the film industry works. So it goes on, and people basically begin to tear his head off, and they understand what I was talking about. Brother Joel, brother from HOI Atlanta, made he screenshotted the Wikipedia article of straw man, and it was perfect because he literally made a straw man argument. Which I'll read the definition for straw man. A straw man is a common form of argument and is an informal fallacy based on giving the impression of refuting an opponent's argument while actually refuting an argument that was not presented by that opponent. I never presented that Birth of a Nation, Salaki, that Black Panther was better than Birth of a Nation. I don't think it is. And it's stupid to think that I would. And it's stupid, like, why do we always have to pit things against each other? Why can't we like both of those movies? Why can't they be both great, classic, instant classic black movies that every black person should watch over and over with their family? I think they both should. Do I like Birth of a Nation better? Of course. Birth of a Nation is about Nat Turner, one of my favorite people in history. But ultimately, and I want to say this ultimately, the reason why both of those movies were allowed to come out was because the hero died at the end of both of them. Y'all gonna hear me say this several times. I'm Haitian. You ain't gonna see a movie on 1804. You saw Tariq Nasheed do a documentary on 1804, which is cool. But I'm talking about a movie, theatrical release, silver screen, major backing on 1804. They never do it. From what I understand, I believe Danny Glover was trying to do it. It never happened. There's a reason for that. You know why? Because the end of 1804 is a decapitated white corpse or a hung white man, and black people jubilantly celebrating their victory, a massacre and an ethnic cleansing of white people out of a country, and the declaration of independence of the first black nation in the Western Hemisphere. They ain't gonna show you that. The only movie that has had a major theatrical release that shows black people in the winner's position and in a rulership position is Planet of the Apes. That's it. And it has to be Planet of the Apes because they're going to mock us by calling us apes. In a way they're mocking us, and in a way they're saying you're looking at these people like animals and they're smarter than you too. It's, you know, and a brother, Tory, man, big shout out to that brother, man. He you know, he said it's about, you know, the overall series is about our interaction with them. And it is, ultimately. When you just look at the one movie, it's about black people ruling. But ultimately, when you, because there's various installments from the 60s on. 60s into the 70s, and of course the early remake in 2001, which was, I believe, Tim Burton's, and then the new series we have now that started with Rise, Dawn, War, and then, you know, whatever film is coming next. But basically, it's about, it starts with them on top. There's a us on top, them on top, us back on top. You know what I'm saying? Which is essentially what's happening. We've always ruled the earth. If not us in particular, just people of color, black people, dark-skinned people in general have always ruled the earth. Then they rose up. They begin to treat us like animals. Then we have a revolutionary black messiah that rises up, liberates us, and puts us back on top. That's the overall theme of the Planet of the Apes franchise. And that's the only time that we're depicted as the people who are winners. It's the only movie. Outside of that, what movie? I may be forgetting one, but damn, I done watched a lot of movies. I'm a movie guy. I'm a real movie buff. You know? So, I mean, I just ain't seen it. It's just not something that I've ever witnessed. But outside of that, they don't never show us on top. So the reason why they'll push a Black Panther, and even though they didn't put nearly a bigger push behind Birth of a Nation as they did Black Panther, and of course we know about the endless works of sabotage they did to Birth of a Nation by saying the theaters were sold out when it wasn't, all over the country. Ultimately, the good guy loses and dies on both of the movies. So the overall message that's being broadcast to the general black viewer is, you could try to rise up all you want, and you could have as good intentions as you want, but we will bring you to heel, as Hillary Clinton said in her super predator speech, her infamous super predator speech. Meaning we're going to be killed or be forced to obey by brute violence and force. That's what they showed there. So that's why they allowed those things to happen. They'll never really show us when, because the white man and the continental African teamed up against the African American to beat and defeat him at all costs, and then go and to share their resources with the UN, who historically has done nothing but exploit, extort, murder, steal from Africa in general. You see what I'm saying? Like that shit was crazy. But it was real. And that's why everybody should watch it. Let the kids watch it for what the kids want to watch it for. Black superhero, that's great for them. But you as an adult, as a person of understanding, you need to see that movie for precisely what it is. Not for you. For them. For everybody but you. You are a unique people, and you are a people that is looked down upon by every other people on the planet, including the people that look like you on the continent of Africa. They look at themselves as tribes, countries, regions, sections. They don't look at themselves as a whole continent or a color. Only we do it because of a lack of identity we have, which is why we need to put back on our nationality, reclaim our nationality as the Hebrew Israelites according to the Bible. You can be African all you want. Arguably, Israel is in Africa. At least a portion of it is, because the land promised to Abraham was the Nile to the Euphrates. But at the end of the day, even if Israel's in Africa, Africa don't fuck with each other. They certainly don't fuck with you. Remember that, man. Remember that. I hope that people got something from this. If you didn't have this perspective, I hope this perspective opened your eyes to some things, or at least was interesting to entertain my perspective, view. I don't have too much to say. It's getting late, so I'm going to end this. I want to again give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. And I'd like to thank y'all for listening and look forward to future installments. There's some other programs I'm watching. I'll tease them real quick. American Crime, I finished all 3 seasons. And I'm currently halfway through the first season and only season currently, awaiting the second season of Claws, which is a TNT show starring Niecy Nash and Karuchi, which is a great show. I like a lot. So I'll be looking to do kind of reviews on both of those soon. I've talked about Power. I got a podcast on Patreon about Power. Of course, we're anticipating the next season. I may start rewatching and maybe going over that as well. Just give me something to talk about. So if there's anything that y'all want to suggest me go into or talk about, go ahead, feel free to leave a comment. Again, all praise Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. It's your brother, Guerrilla Hebrew, signing off. It's a Guerrilla episode 5.